Hello, my dear students, and welcome back. I know your exams are just around the corner, and you might be feeling a little bit of that exam tension. But please don't worry one bit. We're going to master this chapter on structural change together, and I promise by the end of this, you'll feel super confident. Chalo, let's begin.
So let's start with something we all love, right? Breakfast, a yummy bread omelet. But have you ever stopped to think, why bread? Why not something else? The answer, is hiding in our history, and it's all connected to this chapter. Let's find out how.
You see, history isn't just about boring dates and old books. No way! It's actually like a fantastic detective story. And the best part is, the clues are literally all around us, every single day. So come on, let's put on our detective hats and find them.
Just think about it for a second. That necktie you wear with your school uniform, the fact that we all drive on the left side of the road, even the English language that we're talking in right now. All these everyday things are a huge part of a much, much bigger story of how the British left their mark on India. Okay, so this brings us to a very important word, colonialism. Now, I know it sounds like a big, difficult word from the textbook, but trust me, it's actually super simple. Let's break it down so you'll never forget it. So, at its heart, colonialism is just one country ruling over another. But what the British did was a little different. They weren't just here to rule. Their main goal was to make a profit, lots of money. And to make that money, they changed, well, pretty much everything in India. Let me give you a simple example. Think of the old rulers, like the Mughals. They were kind of like someone who takes a small part of whatever you produce, like a small slice of your pizza. But the British? Oh, they were different. They didn't just want a slice. They took over the whole pizza kitchen. They changed the menu, they decided the price, they controlled everything just so they could profit. They took over the whole system. All right, everyone, pencils up. This is a very, very important point, and it could definitely be an exam question. The main difference was this. The British were capitalists. Their goal was profit. So they didn't just take taxes, they changed our entire economy to benefit themselves. Got it? Super important. Now, let's talk about industries and factories. You'd probably think that since the British came from the land of the Industrial Revolution, they must have set up lots of factories here in India, right? Well, the story is actually a little more complicated and quite surprising. Believe it or not, the opposite happened. While factories in Britain were growing and growing, many of our own traditional Indian industries started to decline. This is called deindustrialization. Our beautiful, world-famous cotton and silk textiles just couldn't compete with the cheap, machine-made goods that started flooding in from Britain. And this isn't just a story. We have proof. Look at this quote from an official report back in 1911. It clearly says that cheap European goods destroyed many of our village industries. Just imagine being a skilled weaver whose family has done this work for generations, and suddenly you can't earn a living anymore. It's really quite sad. But it wasn't all decline. Some new industries did come up. For example, the huge tea plantations, especially in places like Assam. But here's the catch. These industries were set up mainly to serve British interests, not for India's development. And the life for the workers in these tea gardens was incredibly hard. First, many of them were tricked or forced into going there. Second, the working conditions were terrible, in unhealthy areas far away from their homes and families. And third, the government actually made laws that helped the British plantation owners, but not the poor workers. It was a very unjust system.
Okay, so we've seen how industries changed. Now let's look at our cities. Just like with industries, the colonial period completely changed the map of India's cities. Some old cities lost their importance, while some new cities became the superstars.
Before the British arrived, cities like Surat, Masulipatam, and Murshidabad were bustling centers of trade. They were the main hubs. But once the British established their rule, the old trade routes changed, and the power shifted. These once great cities slowly started to fade. So where did the action move? To the coast. New cities like Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta shot to fame. And why? Well, it's pretty obvious. They were port cities. It was easy for the British to export raw materials like cotton from here and import their finished goods to sell in India. These cities became the new centers of power and trade. Now, this story of cities growing didn't just stop in 1947. In fact, after we got our independence, our cities started growing even faster. People from villages all over the country began moving to urban areas, searching for work and a different kind of life. Take a look at this chart. It clearly shows how the population in our cities has grown since 1951. See how the bars keep getting taller and taller? That's the story of urbanization in India. A steady increase decade after decade. Phew, we've covered a lot today. So let's quickly do a super summary of the most important points. This is your exam cheat sheet, so pay close attention. Okay, here are the 3 golden points you absolutely must remember. Number 1, British colonialism was unique because it was tied to capitalism and the search for profit. Number 2, British industrialization led to India's deindustrialization, meaning our traditional crafts declined. And number 3, colonialism led to the fall of old cities and the rise of new port cities like Mumbai, Kolkata, and Chennai. Got that? Perfect.
And we are done. See? It wasn't so difficult, was it? You have understood this chapter perfectly, and I am so proud of you. I just know you are going to do great in your exams. I have full faith in all of you.
So, I'll leave you with a final thought to ponder. Now that you know this whole story, what parts of it can you see in your own life today? The next time you're in a big city, or even just looking at a map of India, think about the history behind it all. Good luck with your studies.